Hello out there, Facebook Soul Tribe. Today I am here with Denise Simpson. We are on the 8th ever Self-Care Sundays. This is a big deal because that's a divine number, and we're going to be talking about the divine truth. So for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Diana Lane. I'm an acupuncturist, Reiki master, and I host holistic healing events in Austin called Moon Medicine Magic. They are immersion events where we dive into the depths of things like divine truth and the sparkle of our souls. And so we're in all of these different experiences together of holistic healing, and this Self-Care Sunday is all about expanding into what the divine truth is. So Denise, tell us a little bit about yourself, tell us a little bit about your message and your mission, and let's get to it.
Well, first of all, I'm like in love with you.
Goddess, likewise. I'm like, I can't even wait to get into this conversation.
I just want to thank you for doing this for us every single Sunday, putting yourself out there, spreading this message.
Thanks.
And
it's for all of you.
Yeah.
Self-care for the masses.
Totally. And I've been benefiting from this, and so it's such an honor to be here with you today. I mean, I'm totally living my divine truth right now.
Yes.
Like, look where we're at.
We're at Zilker Botanical Gardens right now in this just like mecca of Austin nature with radiant goddesses like yourself.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
I love it. So tell everyone about you. Let's hear about your background, and then we'll talk about these I'm like so excited to get into these questions.
Well, so a little bit about me. I'm a certified life and leadership coach.
Great.
So I've been helping people through powerful transformation.
Awesome.
And I also have a PhD in leadership studies. So I get to combine the theoretical part to the practical part. I'm also a really big spiritual practitioner in my own personal life.
Beautiful.
And what I'm finding is a lot of people are coming to me with very on the surface problems, but then when we do some deep reflective work, we're finding a lot of spiritual undertones here.
Yes.
And so I get to experience the best of both worlds.
Yes.
Helping with the leadership part and then helping with the spiritual self-realization part.
I love
So
that.
that's
I
what
wonder
do.
if anyone out there has ever experienced something like that, where you feel like you're kind of scratching the surface of some things that are going on, and then as you start to dig into yourself, you find all of these layers. I use the onion analogy. It's like humans, like we're these beautiful layers of these onions, and there's stuff underneath the surface, right? So that's so cool that you're getting in there, you're doing the work.
Yeah, I get to have a lot of fun, and we get to see our clients. I mean, in the coaching industry, we get to see our clients just go through some powerful transformations.
Beautiful.
And so I'm living my dream.
I love it.
I get to experience that every day.
So let's get into it then, all right?
Yeah.
So today's session is all about the divine truth. And if any of you have any experiences with the divine truth or any ideas about what the divine truth means to you, please feel free to comment below. We love to interact with everyone because this is a collaborative effort, right? It's all about co-creating and experiencing life through the best possible, most transformative ways.
Beautiful.
So, in the divine truth, I want to know, just in general, what is the divine truth?
So the divine truth, and here's what's really great. I mean, in the spirit of Self-Care Sunday, I mean, let's talk about the ultimate return to your natural state of being. And that is a being of, or experiencing the most purest love, the most ridiculous joy,
Yes, please.
and complete alignment with your higher purpose.
Yes.
That's the divine truth. Like, who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
Like, just like revel in that. Just
Right.
like, can you feel it right now?
Love and joy and alignment.
Yeah.
Like, what does that feel like to you out there when you think about this? Love and alignment and joy and living in your truth. Like, anybody out there craving that in their lives or more of that in their lives? Because I know I'm like, yes, please.
Yes.
Check.
It's intentional for me every day.
You sign me up.
Yeah, totally. And here's what's interesting. It's how we came into this physical body. It's how we were intended to stay.
Yep.
Like this is supposed to last through our lifetimes.
Yep.
And we're ultimately going to transition into that divine truth when we're no longer in these physical bodies.
Right, when we separate from physical form, right? You're back to that divine essence.
Absolutely. And so the problem that we're having is we're being pulled away further and further from our natural baseline.
Yes.
And so what my challenge is to, help others and myself reconnect, reacquaint ourselves with that natural state of being
Love it.
in the divine
Love
truth.
it. So anyone out there watching, what is your natural state of being? Like, what is your divine truth? What makes your heart and soul sing? Like this talking about alignment, what helps you feel aligned? Is it as simple as getting out in nature? Is it connecting with other amazing beings? Like I do this thing called ecstatic dance and I feel so divine.
I so need to know more about this.
Come with me on a Sunday.
I need to
It's
join you.
beautiful because people are able to express themselves. Whatever your divine truth is in your heart, however you want to move, it's welcome there. And so that divinity of being this vessel, of
Beautiful.
like the conduit, right, between heaven and earth. Like, what is divinity to you? What's your divine truth? And how can you live that, more powerfully?
Absolutely. And so for our friends who are kind of maybe caught up with the word divine,
Yes.
let's explore that a little bit.
Please.
Because we all have a different definition of the divine.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's source, God, it could be goddess, it could be Mother Nature, it could be universal spirit.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many labels that we put on this universal feeling that we're talking about. So
Right.
I want for us all to focus on the feeling, what Diana just expressed and how she beautifully expressed. So that's what I want us to focus on. Not so much the label,
Yeah.
just the feeling.
Right.
So while you're with us today, just revel in that feeling.
Right. Whatever your divinity is,
Indeed.
it's your truth. It doesn't have to fit under any label. There is no right or wrong answer to this. It's all about just your divine truth.
Totally.
So that's a perfect segue then. Like, how do we return to the divine truth? Because it's easy in this day and age to feel scattered and feel like you're here and you're there and you've got all these things going on. I mean, to just take a moment to center can be difficult. Like, any of you ever feel like that? Like, it's hard to just like find your alignment and your focus, and I use the analogy like you're that person who's spinning all the plates. It's like, how do you keep all your plates up?
Balls in
Like,
the
yeah,
air.
our balls in the air. Like if any of you
love
have
that.
experienced what it's like, I mean, anybody in the Western world, like, here we go. We're always on the go and juggling. So
Totally.
what helps us get back to our divine truth, to return to that?
Yeah, so we've got, because I'm a coach, I'd like to provide some practical strategies.
Please.
So we're connecting the theory with the practical steps. And
Yeah.
so there's 3 things. And if you want to take, paper and pen out, and then I'll make sure I post some things here.
Free gold right here.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. And so here's what we're going to start with. So meditation is important. And I know you agree with that, being an energy worker and healer yourself. And so meditation is the great neutralizer. And what I mean by that is
love that.
Yeah, because I think meditation is underutilized. We use it a lot. We say that word often, to meditate, to go into meditation, but we don't really do it to help center ourselves and reconnect to our divine truth. And so meditation is key. So spend about 15,
meditate.
Yeah, number 1, meditate. So about 15 minutes or so. Do you agree?
Yes, 15
Yeah.
minutes is great. And for people who that feels like a lot, you can start bite-sized. I always have my patients starting with 5 to 10 minutes because I'll tell someone to sit there and be quiet for 15 minutes and they look at me like I'm Medusa. And I'm like, I'm sorry, just balance yourself.
Yeah, totally.
And so 15 minutes is an excellent recommendation. And the cool thing about meditation, for anyone who's wondering, you can't do it wrong.
Right.
You can't meditate improperly.
If you can breathe, you can meditate.
If you can breathe, you can meditate. And the practice of meditation is about coming back to your mind and to your center, right? Because the mind will naturally wander.
Absolutely.
It's a meaning-making machine. It goes off into the planet and the ether. And the goal is to come back to your center.
Yeah.
So as we're here talking about the divine truth, if anyone wants to share what the divine truth means to you, or what is it like to be with yourself and in your body? Like, how do you find yourself into meditation? How do you find yourself into the space and time? And what helps you center? So number 1, meditate.
And so what I like to do, just for inspiration purposes, I share this. So again, you develop your own meditation practice.
Yes.
But what I do, I actually start in prayer. So I ask, dear God, use me as a vessel to bring love, joy, and alignment to someone else today.
Beautiful.
How will you use me today?
So powerful.
And then now we get into meditation.
Yeah.
So then 15 minutes of no thought.
Yeah.
And if that's hard for you, I use an old clock with a second-hand ticker to draw out the noise, or you can use the hum of your air conditioning unit, or even a white noise machine. I sleep with one. So
Find something
I
to
use it.
focus on,
Focus
right?
on that,
Love
so
it.
that you can regulate those thoughts that are coming through, because that's just natural. That's just how do you turn off a mind?
Right. How do you turn off a mind?
Very
That
hard.
is the question of the century. How do you turn off a mind? So I love this, using these tools, right? If you can't just draw back inward to your breath, anyone have problems just breathing, you can use things like a noise machine, or maybe some gentle music or something like that in the background, something to help really focus your mind on a directed thought process for no thinking, right?
Right.
Which sounds
Right.
so silly,
I know
like,
it does.
to think about not thinking. But if you've ever had problems meditating, really creating that like second ticker or focusing on your breath, that will really draw you back.
Indeed.
Okay, so after meditation,
Okay, so now we get to work. So now that our brains are primed, our minds are primed, our spiritual bodies are primed. So we've done the meditation.
Yes.
And now let's get to some work.
I love
You
it.
ready?
I love it. Let's
Okay.
get to it.
So if you're not journaling, we have to get started soon, right? Like this is to journal. This verb is another verb that's underutilized.
Yes.
We talk a lot about, doing free writing and just doing these just flows
Brain dumps,
of brain.
right?
I know.
Yeah.
Brain dumps of these thoughts that you have.
I love that.
But we don't do it often, just like we don't meditate as often as we should. And so here we're going to practice self-honesty. Okay, so
Look at that. We've got Erin. Hey, Erin. How's it going?
Hi.
So you probably know a thing or two about self-honesty. She created
Oh.
this game called Cards for Connection, and they're all about creating this aspect, right?
Very
So
nice.
here we are talking about the divine truth. We've got another sorceress of divine truth joining us,
Love
and
it,
we've been
love
talking
it.
about journaling and meditating,
Yes,
right? And these are
yes.
the two things. Do you recommend meditating and then journaling to
Yes.
find your divine focus?
Absolutely. Let's
Okay.
meditate first so that we can prime
Yes.
our working minds.
Yes.
So we get into meditation first. 15 minutes go by. Again, meditation is the great neutralizer.
Great neutralizer.
We're stopping all resistant thoughts when we meditate. We're vibrating at a higher level. So all those low frequency energy thoughts that we carry, that it's the narrative that we play in our heads. It's
The mean roommate that lives in our mind.
The troll that lives in our
Anybody,
the gremlin, the
anybody
troll,
have someone
yeah.
in there talking crap to you? Yeah.
So now that we're ready and we're primed,
I love it.
let's be conscious now. We're now ready to journal.
I love it.
And so, as I was saying, self-honesty.
Yes.
So that's part of self-care.
Right. Well, and then like you were saying about journaling, to just like let your mind flow, right? It's another one of those things you cannot do wrong. Like Erin's saying, when you come from that high vibe place,
Cool.
you can just be in that alignment with your
totally.
divine truth, and you just let the words come out. Even if it's like chicken, 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 I want a sandwich. Like you can say something like that. That's just what happened in my mind.
Absolutely.
And you will be surprised, right? I bet the things that come out as you dive deeper into journaling.
Yeah.
So number 1, meditate.
Yes.
Number 2, journal.
Yes.
And this is coming back to your divine. What's our third juicy
Oh my
tip?
gosh, our third one, visualization. So this is something we do a lot in coaching. So, some of us may not talk about meditation with our clients,
Right.
although we highly recommend meditation. Yes, you do. And we talk a lot about journaling, but visualization is key here. So here, it's not meditation. Visualization, you are conscious, you are your prefrontal cortex is snapping. We're looking at the desired result. We're looking at what is your ideal state of being. So if that is living your divine truth, then let's look at your reality now and where the gaps are between reality and your ideal state. And so in your visualization practice is we're going to use all of the colorful images because the brain responds very quickly to pictures. And so what you're going to do is get comfortable, close your eyes if you like, remember, this is all about you and your ideal state and where you want to go from point A to point B.
Yes.
And so I call this the fantasy session.
Oh, I like that. Everyone likes
I know,
a little
right?
fantasy
who
sometimes.
doesn't?
Well,
Who
yeah.
doesn't? So here you get to have all the fun. You get to create the images in your mind. You get to experience the ideal as if it has already occurred.
So this is like beyond the law of attraction. This is beyond manifesting. This is like
Oh my gosh.
setting an actual momentum towards getting clear about what you're visualizing, anchoring it with these juicy words, and then setting it into motion and going, okay, this is here and now. I am creating this in my life.
Most definitely. And so, you know, brain science. I mean, there's a lot of neuroscience and brain-based coaching that we do. And so visualization is where we get to, again, prime our reality. So from reality to the ideal, and that's where we get to fill those gaps in.
Yeah.
And so, yes, like you said, it creates momentum so that your brain is ready to be ready to find all of those, you know, little nuggets and little things that happen in your everyday life so that you can move towards your ideal.
I love this.
Does
So
that make
you're
sense?
talking about, right, because you're talking about meditating, right? And meditating's like setting up the stage. You know, you're getting into a space, and then you're talking about journaling. So then you're putting everything in its place.
Indeed.
And then now you're talking about really solidifying the scene to where you've actually cleaned the slate, visualized or created what you want through releasing and writing, and then visualizing and like just making things happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. So do you have some things about journaling and visualization and some things that you were going to help anchor people with, some questions?
So with journaling, well, let me back up a little bit because I want for everyone to know that coaching is where we take clients through this transformative journey, but we do this through conscious insight. So something that we've talked about is the subconscious programming, and you know, we're run by it 90% of our day. And so in coaching, we have our clients in full thought, in full conscious effort. And so that's what journaling is going to help you with. Is you're there, present in the moment, and you're going to ask yourself, where am I at today?
Yes.
What does the reality look like? And what is the ideal? What does the ideal look like for me?
Right, so where am I at and where do I want to be? I love this. Bianca says this is a great topic for the upcoming equinox.
Ooh,
thanks, B. That's
cool.
so true. Full moons and spring equinoxes, these are really powerful times.
Nice.
Like perfect to set intentions, perfect to get clear about like where are you at? Like, do any of you out there have a vision of where you're at and where you actually want to be? And what does that look like to you? I mean, if there's something in there that you want to say, hi, Jessica, how are you today? Thanks for tuning in.
Hi.
I love it. So now that we're talking to the divine truth, we've talked about our tips and our tricks and how to really just align with your center and your truth. And then these are the aspects about returning to center, which involve meditating, involve journaling, and then involve a visualization. So getting really clear about what's going on in your life and where do you actually want to be, because when you're in your divine truth, things happen. Like, any of you out there ever experienced that, where you're like so in an experience and you're definitely where you're supposed to be, and then everything just falls into place?
Who doesn't want to live this way? Like
Flow state. Yes, hearts for flow state out there. For
right on.
real. Flow state is really beautiful. So share some more. Let's hear what else you've got, because I know there's a couple things. We'll post these in the comments as well, because there are some questions for journaling. There are some things to add to these insights, so those will all be in the comments.
Yes.
And if you want an extra copy, feel free to like say I'm in, send it to me.
Yeah, and also we'll turn this into a blog post. And so we'll give you some information at the end on how to grab this blog that I'm going to publish tomorrow morning.
I love it.
But yeah, so we talked about, you know, the journaling and being conscious and mindful and asking yourself these powerful questions. And here, like I said, is where we're practicing the self-honesty. So no more negotiating with yourself. Who does? I negotiate.
I negotiate with myself all the time.
Every day.
But
Should I have the
maybe-
donut? Should I not? Like, you know, that's how I negotiate sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so with you. I do that. I make up these things in my mind where I like talk myself into or out of things.
Yeah.
Or both sometimes at the same time, like into and out of things. Is like, okay, it's insanity sometimes.
Definitely.
Okay.
So the negotiation ends here.
No negotiations.
And then, like we were saying, the visualization is where you get really clear on what your ideal looks like. And that's where you put the pictures in motion.
Yeah. What's your ideal out there? Anyone want to set some stuff into motion now? Like, tell us, what is your ideal in life? Do you want to be traveling the world and working from wherever destination you're at? Do you want to be really solidifying your practice? Do you want to be sharing? Do you want to be introverted? Like, what are your ideals in life? And if you're not sure, this is a good time to reflect and visualize on what that ideal looks like for you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Love it.
Yeah. And so we talked about how to, return to the state of being, right? Because we're all damaged beings.
Yes.
I mean, some well-intended parents and then some not so well-intended parents,
Right.
May have contributed to that.
We experience trauma in our lives. It's no questions asked. Last week I was talking with Izzy Swanson, and it was all about the trauma bodies, all about the holes and the patches and the things that you really amass in your life, and that can be really intense, and not even from this lifetime. They studied, had you hear the study? They studied rats, and they found that we are inundated with 14 generations of DNA imprinting.
Oh my gosh.
So 14 generations of trauma. I mean, if you can even think like 3 or 4 generations ago, the stuff people were going through, imagine like dark age trauma still affecting us.
Definitely.
I love this. B says, or at least setting up goals, right? So setting up goals like moving, or it's like you have to kind of have these attainable things. Like, okay, 15 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of journaling, 10 minutes of visualization.
Yeah. The momentum.
Like,
I mean, that's all you want to create is momentum.
Right. And that's a 35 minutes of self-care for yourself. I used to have an amazing Tai Chi master, and he would say, if you don't have 1 hour of Tai Chi a day, do 2.
Oh, jeez.
And there was no, like, he was not joking. If you don't have 1 hour of a day in your life to care about yourself, what are you doing?
Yeah, indeed.
Right.
Indeed, absolutely.
So what other questions do you have? Let's hear it.
So now that we've written down what our reality is and what our ideal looks like. So now we need to see how we can bridge the two. So what are the easiest, fastest things that you can do to bridge that gap? And that's where, again, self-honesty comes in.
Yes.
So write this down. So you've got, 2 columns. One could be reality and one could be the ideal. And then ask yourself, what is the easiest thing that I can do tomorrow? That I can change tomorrow?
Right.
Is it practicing more compassion for my fellow man? Is it more meditation?
Right.
I mean, write this down in your journal and hold yourself accountable here.
Yes. I mean, accountability is essential, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because no one can tell you what to do in this world. They can give you tools and keys. Like I tell people, I'm not a healer. I'm a healing guide. I give you the opportunity from, 15 years of trying to work on my own self-healing, and I just provide a space for transformation.
That's so beautiful.
That's so powerful. I love this. Can you do that? Can you make a line that says 1 row of the things that you actually are experiencing your reality and 1 row of what your ideal is? So it could be something as beautiful as working 4-hour work weeks or whatever it is that floats your boat. So so get clear and hold yourself accountable out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And so take that first step tomorrow or today even. And when you then move to visualization, so you take the ideal and those little steps that you're going to take and you put them in your picture, into your ideal picture in your mind.
Yes, you are the creator of your destiny.
People only knew that.
If people only knew, if we could believe it.
True.
Sometimes I think I know it and I don't necessarily always believe it. And then I get reminded.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
The universe will tell you. It will tell you. For sure.
Oh yeah,
For
talking about the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So those are just a few things. Does anyone out there have questions before we move to another area?
I think everyone's pretty good right now. If you do have questions, though, you're welcome to add them onto this. You're welcome to interact however you feel called. You can add your comments afterwards. We'll be going through and talking about them. And that can kind of lead us into our last question was, how do you sustain this way of being when life gets challenging, when things are zipping by and you've got a million events and all these responsibilities, like things that you have to do? How do you stay in alignment with your divine truth in that moment?
It's called self-regulation. I know that's really important to hear because you have to practice self-care and love yourself enough to not sacrifice your alignment for anyone ever again. For a person, for a spouse, for a partner, for the government, for politics, for your well-intentioned parents.
Right.
You have to self-regulate.
Yeah.
And part of self-regulation is also, how do you interpret the contrast? Because life will happen.
Life will happen.
You will get
inevitably. Inevitably, life is going to happen.
Pain will occur. That's inevitable.
Yeah.
But the suffering is a choice.
Oh.
And how
Snaps for that.
I love you for doing that.
Snaps
That's so
for
sweet.
that.
And so that's where we get to look at the contrast, and we need to learn how to leverage the contrast. So, listen, I'm a big proponent of burying your head in the sand. I know that's not good for mental health reasons. But
sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to, because the pain is so acute, it is so sharp, and you're not able to see the contrast for what it's going to help you with.
Yep.
And so for me, I take some time to just step away from the situation.
That's good advice.
And then you have to be a self-observer of your own life, where you step back,
action items,
and say, I'm an impartial spectator here. I'm going to see what this contrast is going to help me with. I may not see it now, but it's something that I'm going to leverage, so that I can get beyond this situation that I can't see past my hand.
So it's like, can you look objectively at the things in front of your face? Because when you're in it, it can be really hard to recognize. I did something called the Landmark Forum recently, and they talk a lot about authenticity there, and I was so triggered, because I try to always lead my life at the very authentic way, but then he said, how many times have you said yes to something when you meant no? Or how many times have you gone and done an event or done something when you're actually really exhausted, but you do it because you want to show up for people, and kind of calling me out on that's an aspect of inauthenticity. And I was like, I fought with it. I fought with it because I didn't want to hear that truth, because in my body, in my mind, I'm like, but I love people. I want to show up for them. And it's like, oh, but I also need to show up for myself.
Indeed.
So I love what you're saying about really staying aligned with your things, because my roommate, she's incredible about this. Jennifer, if you're out there watching, or when you watch this, she's amazing, because she literally is so committed to her self-care and her exercise and the things that she does. She doesn't let anything ever get in the way of that. So what gets in your way? Can any of you be really honest and truthful about what gets in your way out there when you know that you should maybe be exercising, or you want to be? There are no shoulds in this world. That you want to be exercising more, or you want to be eating better. What is standing in your way from that? Being in alignment with your divine truth.
And if it's yourself, and if it's the negotiating that you do, then we have to address that.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
Because it may not be an external factor, right? It's most of the time our own doing.
Oh yeah. We sabotage ourselves left and right, and that's so easy to do and hard to overcome. So can you get out of your own way? Can you really step into your divine truth and be who you're meant to be? Because I know that all of us are way more powerful than we give ourselves credit for.
Indeed.
And that when you step into that alignment, and you don't let anything else get in your way, including your own darn self, that nasty roommate inside of your head, show up, be that divinity, because we are creatures of the lights, and absolutely. Darkness is there, and we all have our crap that we deal with, but what's your truth? I know. You're like, woo. And that's the question for all of you out there. What is your truth? What is your reality? What's your ideal? And who and what is standing in your way? Because that clarity will change your life.
Yeah, indeed. And so that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit more. And I know we're looking at the time too, but to be able to sustain that is to be mindful of those triggers, and to stop the self-negotiating, and practice more self-regulation. Yes. And this is mental discipline. That's all this is.
I love it.
I mean, because we can, like she said earlier, share with you all these practical strategies and tips, but we can't do it for you. And so
Truth.
You have to have discipline. So you have to not want to sacrifice your alignment for anyone else, or or any entity or external force. So.
Seriously. Well, and I love this. So, Denise, we're getting kind of towards the end of our moment here, but I really want to just thank you so much for your wisdom and for this share. You are such a powerhouse, and the way you show up is so incredible and very authentic. Like, working with you through this, just been like, yes, goddess. So if y'all haven't followed her yet, check out Dr. Denise Simpson. She's linked in this. You can find her at DeniseSimpson.com or Dr. Denise Simpson.
Dr. Denise Simpson.
DrDeniseSimpson.com. You can find her on Facebook. You're also welcome to friend me, Diana Lane. We're doing Moon Medicine Magic. There's so many epic creations in this town, and I feel like you have these skills where you can really help people up level their existence. So if you are looking for someone to help you find your divine truth, thanks, Erin, we love you. Check out Denise, because she has the skills, the tools, the guidance, the knowledge, and she's going to share these questions that she has. She'll be posting info about the blog. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. We will be going through comments and corresponding with you about questions or challenges. If something comes up when you're like, I have to negotiate with myself, which is what I do, because I'm like, but what? This is normal. All these things that come up in my head, and it's like, let all of that go and see what stays, you know, because in your alignment, you find the truth in your heart, the beauty of your being, and you can really show up as your authentic self.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Denise. Any parting words?
I guess if you're going to take anything away from our time together today, is do not sacrifice your alignment for a person, your government, politics, fill in the blank.
Yeah. Be
you
yourself.
owe yourself that. Do not sacrifice your alignment for anyone else.
I love it. Thank you so much. 8th Ever Self-Care Sunday. We'll be tuning in again next week. It's been an honor to share this space with you. Thank you all for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We'll be back next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
sweetheart.
darling.
Loved it. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Finish.